आदरणीय दर्शकवृन्द, आज हामी याकेनवती होटलमा छौँ। यो काष्ठमण्डप डायलग अन्तर्गत सिरिज प्रथम अन्तर्गत चाहिँ यो BRI को बारेमा हामी चर्चा गरिरहेका छौँ र आज हामीसँग आदरणीय अतिथि हुनुहुन्छ, अत्यन्त पूजनीय वन्दनीय हाम्रो डाक्टर खगेन्द्र प्रसाईज्यू। ल उहाँलाई BRI सम्बन्धी मेरो पहिलो प्रश्न छ। सर, जस्तो BRI को बारेमा चाहिँ इन्डियाले अलिकति विरोधको स्वरहरू जनाएको र इन्डियन मिडियाले अलिकति प्रोभोकेसन गरेको भन्ने कुरा छ नि, यो चाहिँ किन होला जस्तो लाग्छ?
होइन, BRI प्रोजेक्ट नेपालमा कार्यान्वयन भयो भने इन्डियनहरूले अहिलेसम्म गरेको हेजेमोनी भन्छौँ जसलाई पोलिटिकल साइन्सको भाषामा, तपाईँले दादागिरी भन्न सक्नुहुन्छ, हस्तक्षेप भन्न सक्नुहुन्छ, जे शब्द प्रयोग गरे हुन्छ त्यसलाई चाहिँ त्यसले काउन्टर गर्छ। अनि इन्डियाले लामो समयदेखि नेपाललाई हस्तक्षेप गर्ने, नेपालमाथि चाहिँ उसले आफ्नो हेजेमोनी भन्छौँ हामी पोलिटिकल साइन्सको भाषामा, त्यसलाई कायम राख्ने उसको इच्छा छ लामो समयदेखिको। अनि BRI प्रोजेक्ट नेपालमा आउने भने त्यो इन्डियाको जुन वर्चस्व, हेजेमोनी, अर्को शब्दमा दादागिरी जे छ त्यो चाहिँ कम भएर जान्छ क्या। उसको एक छत्र मोनोपोली जुन हो त्यो चाहिँ काउन्टर हुन्छ। त्यो काउन्टर भएपछि ऊ स्वाभाविक रूपले विचलित हुने, त्यसको प्रतिक्रिया दिने गरिहाल्छ त।
तर जस्तो US इकोनोमिक ग्याङ्स्टरिजम र अमेरिकन हेजेमोनी पनि छ नि त, होइन? त्यो त MCC को रूपमा आइसकेको अवस्था छ। यसले झन् दुईटै पक्षको बिचमा द्वन्द्व हुन्छ कि?
हुन्छ, स्वाभाविक हुन्छ, प्रतिस्पर्धा त भइहाल्छ, द्वन्द्व भइहाल्छ, होइन? त्यो त देखिरहनु भएको छ, भइहाल्छ भन्नै पऱ्यो, भइसकेको छ, होइन? BRI को विरुद्धमा अमेरिकन चाहिँ इस्टाब्लिसमेन्ट पक्ष, अमेरिकी सत्ता पक्ष लागेको छ, इन्डियन पनि लागेको छ, होइन? किनभने नेपाल जस्ता साना साना देशहरूमा BRI गएपछि त्यो BRI ले ठुलो सहयोग गर्छ त्यो देशहरूलाई। जस्तो अफ्रिकाका, लेटिन अमेरिकाका देशहरूमा त्यहाँ काया पलट भएको छ र उनीहरूले त वर्ल्ड ब्याङ्क, IMF लाई धपाइसकेका छन्। त्यो त्यस्तोसम्म परिस्थिति बनिसकेका छ, होइन? अनि त्यसले गर्दाखेरि उनीहरू त्यसमा चिन्तित हुने स्वाभाविक छ।
जस्तो चाइना सेन्टर भएर BRI ले लगभग मतलब 300-400 वटा प्रोजेक्ट विश्वव्यापी रूपमा लागू गर्दाखेरि मतलब कम्युनिस्ट डिक्टेटरसिप अथवा प्रोलिटेरियट जुन अधिनायकवाद भन्ने चलन छ त्यो हावी हुने खतरा हुन्छ।
कसरी देख्नुहुन्छ त्यो? यसै काल्पनिक प्रश्न हो तपाईँको, अति काल्पनिक। कहाँ देख्नुहुन्छ त्यो? न सिद्धान्तमा छ, न व्यवहारमा छ। उसले त प्रश्न भनेको छ, तेरो राजनीतिक व्यवस्था जस्तो सुकै होस्, आर्थिक व्यवस्था जस्तो सुकै होस्, BRI तैँले शर्तमा लिन्छस् भने म दिन्छु भन्छ। त्यसैले उसले तपाईँले भने जस्ता अरबका चाहिँ कतिपय देशहरूका डिक्टेटर राजाहरूलाई पनि उसले सहयोग गर्छ, कम्युनिस्ट रेजिमहरूलाई पनि गर्छ, चाहिँ डेमोक्रेटिक भनिएका पुँजीवादी राज्य सत्ताहरूलाई पनि उसले सहयोग गरेको छ। त्यसले चाहिँ त्यो ब्यारियर नागेको छ। हिजो जुन ब्यारियरको सीमा थियो त्यो ब्यारियर BRI ले नागेको छ कि।
जस्तो ट्रान्स हिमालय बोर्डर अन्तर्गत जस्तो ट्रेन बनाउने भन्ने कुरा आयो सर, के यसले अब इन्डियाको जुन हामी माथिको आजसम्म यो 50औं वर्षदेखिको जुन दादागिरी डोमिनेसन छ अब यो चेक एन्ड ब्यालेन्स हुने हो?
हुन्छ, त्यही हुन्छ र त इन्डियनहरू डराएको हो कि। इन्डियनहरू चिन्तित भएको कुरा र इन्डियनहरूले 14 कि 15मा जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई त्यो BRI आउँछ भन्ने, अथवा BRI सिल्क रोड त्यति बेला चाहिँ लगानी बढ्यो भनेपछि उनीहरूले आत्तिएर नेपालको लगानी दोब्बर बनाएको छ क्या, है? जस्तो बङ्गलादेशमा ठुलो लगानी छ, होइन? पाकिस्तानमा ठुलो
ग्रान्ट नै पनि
बढाएको छ, होइन? त्यो पछाडि चिनको त्यो लगानी हुँदाहुँदै पछि इन्डियनहरूले आफ्नो ग्रान्ट्सहरू, लगानीहरू बढाए, डबल। जस्तो नेपाललाई झन्डै डबल, तर एकदमै नेपालले त्यो खर्च गर्न सकेन।
To very prominent speakers from China, and also we have a speaker who also has a very great experience in China from Nepal, and Bujuji also is very learned scholar. Please, you're welcome. So, let me first introduce the panelists.
This invitation with my deep gratitude, however, with humility. Honestly, I was a bystander of Belt and Road Initiative. I was an observer, staying at the last bench of the class of BRI. And I was thinking, BRI was not a cup of my tea for many years. Though I have been visiting Xi'an, the starting point of Silk Road in the history, since 2018, BRI has only been my area of interest but not expertise. At this moment, I am given 20 minutes to speak on BRI which has a history of more than 2,000 years, spanning tens of thousands of miles of networks, reaching more than 150 countries in the world. It's a great story, which is also known as New Silk Road. I have entitled my presentation, the BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative, a New Silk Road, vision of time, trade, and togetherness. Time, I wanted to speak a little bit touching upon the history of the BRI, how it has been remodeled from the ancient Silk Road. Trade for me is exchange of goods and services, which includes not only the money, the exchange of checks, money, but more than that, ideas, culture, science, technology, and innovation, and finally the togetherness, a vision of togetherness where we see the future of shared human communities. For me, the Belt and Road Initiative is more than just infrastructure and trade. Let me reinstate BRI is a vision for a shared global future and more prosperous humanity. At its core, the BRI weaves together a network and interconnection among lands and maritime routes, facilitating the movement of people, the exchange of science, technology, culture, ideas, societies, and civilization. So much like the ancient Silk Road, the BRI served as a conduit for the transmission of religion, languages, philosophies, and artistic tradition. As I can see here, we have now two pictures, the ancient Silk Road and the modern BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative. The BRI is rooted in the philosophy of a global community with a shared future. This vision was championed by President Xi Jinping of China. Interestingly, the concept of BRI first emerged not in a political or economic or trade consortium. It first emerged in academic circles. He first mentioned the shared future of humanity in his speech at the Moscow State Institute of International Relations in March 2013. And he first mentioned about Silk Road, a new Silk Road, at the gathering of Nazarbayev University in Astana, Kazakhstan, again in 2013. You can find both the addresses either in Xinhua Institute's website. For me, I found it in the website of the Tokyo University of Japan. President Xi was deeply interested. He was deeply influenced by Silk Road because he grew up near Xi'an, a small rural village called Yanchuan. In his speech at Astana, he retold how the Emperor Wu of Han 2000 years ago asked and sent his envoy Chan Qian on a mission to Central Asia to seek peace and forge alliances. It was the time when there was war, hostility, and banditry were rampant. It was an extraordinary challenge with treacherous landscapes, vast deserts, yet Chang Qian successfully completed his mission, though he failed in the first attempt, but he was successful in the second attempt. At the moment when he gave his address, President Xi mentioned very interesting and deeply philosophical sentence, a Kazakh statement. He said, "The history of land is the history of its people." So as I mentioned, this is the picture of the envoy Chan Qian, who went to Central Asia with the message of Wu of Han. And the road he made became later the Silk Road. The Silk Road in the history, it was a remarkable more than 6,000 kilometer trade route linking China, the Middle East and Europe. Later it also linked India, Pakistan, Nepal and many other countries in South Asia. It facilitated the exchange of goods and commodities between these regions. But significantly, it was a hub of cross-cultural interaction and intellectual exchange. The Buddhism, which is practiced in China by the majority of its people, reached to China from Nepal and India via Silk Road. Had there was no Silk Road, there was no possibility of Buddhism reaching China. A Buddhist scholar, Xuanzang, we call him Wensang in Nepal, is a part of our school curriculum, who had been to India and also Nepal. He went back to China after a travel of 15 years long, visiting Nalanda, learning Pali language, and then translating the Buddhist sutras. As a testament to this knowledge transfer, there is a pagoda, white big goose pagoda in Xi'an, where I have been working for the last 6 or 7 years. Not only that, apple, shao, which is part of our diets today, was also disseminated from the Silk Road. Perhaps you are aware, Astana, the capital city of Kazakhstan, means the city or the settlement which is near apple. So, apple was also transported through the Silk Road. Not only that, many of the pets, especially the cats, biralo, which is a therapeutic animal, so cute and loved by millions of people in the world today, was also transported through Silk Road some 1400 years ago. This was revealed recently by a scientific studies. In China, they have 70 million cats today, 7 crore biralaharu छन्. And they were actually a gift of the Central Asia to the noble people in the past, and now it has become a pet at household. So this is how Silk Road played a great role in exchange of not only the goods and trade, but also made a part of the life.
Professor Guzru, could you finish your presentation in 5 minutes?
Sure. So moving forward, the Silk Road created opportunities. The history of Silk Road ended almost after the Industrial Revolution. As you can see here, in these 300 years, the total wealth of humanity, world wealth, it increased from mere 2 trillion to more than 100 trillion. The GDP per capita today is 12,000 US dollar per person, which was nearly 600 US dollar 300 years ago. Also, the lifespan of the humanity, which was merely 35 years till 200 years ago, now it is more than 70. So that's the progress made by humanity. However, there is disparity. The disparity is that the global south have less than US dollar 5,000 per annum, while the north rich countries, they have more than 57,000 US dollars. It is said the world's more than 70% of wealth is amassed by the north rich countries. But whose wealth is that? They were all collected from the so-called South Pole countries. So, we need to change it. We have to bring a change here. Given this backdrop, a new Silk Road became essential. Thankfully, China took a lead and brought this idea of the BRI. The next interesting part of the Silk Road, the new Silk Road of the BRI, is that I'm taking an example of Christmas. The Christmas decorations and gifts are among the most coveted items for the children in the West, especially America and Europe. is a part of the Christianity, is a part of the Christian religion. But you know, more than 90% of the Christmas gifts are produced by Chinese people who are or who believe on Buddhism, who are in a country of secular. That's another very interesting part. Only China can do it without a prejudice of any religion through the BRI. Very recently, China organized a science, technology, and innovation conference, and the role of BRI, and thus the scientific research, technology development, and innovation have become a crucial pillar of the BRI. For example, through this, more than 80 countries have already signed bilateral agreements. And there are 50 research laboratories and 70 technology innovation parks in making. Just a simple example of Kenya, which is producing its flora with the help of BRI. More interestingly, the countries like Pakistan, Azerbaijan, and even UAE, the United Arab Emirates, they are working with China under the BRI project to reach to the moon by 2030. In 2019, the scientific journal Nature assessed research progress in BRI participating countries. It concluded that those countries involved in BRI were making significant strides in science, technology, and innovation. More than 26,000 young scientists from the global south have already taken research training in China, and every year they are getting more than 300 PhD scholarships, which are taught in Chinese academic sciences and also in the TWAS, that is the Third World Academy of Sciences. Thus, while the wealthy nations are curtailing, reducing their involvement in science and technology, China's sustained investment in research through the BRI is reshaping the global scientific landscape. So finally, let me conclude that the BRI has long been symbolized humanity's natural inclination towards movement, trade, and cultural exchange. It represents a modern continuation of this legacy, fostering a global, interconnected future built on shared prosperity. As the 21st century unfolds, the initiative stands as a testament to the enduring power of connectivity in shaping civilization and fostering global progress. Thank you so much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Professor Buzur, for your very excellent and very research-based presentation. Since we are running time, I will go very quickly. So I would like to invite Professor Wang Yongsheng. He is a professor and associate dean at the School of International Studies, deputy director of Institute of South Asian Studies, and coordinator of China Center for South Asian Studies.
Chair for the kind introduction of me. So I would begin by saying that after the end of this pandemic, 3 years ago, I became a frequent visitor of Kathmandu, and I maintain this, very good feeling about this great country, with great people, and I feel it's kind of my responsibility to maintain this high level, communication with you, trying my best to explain what. Okay, I speak up. To explain to my friends and colleagues about what BRI is. As a matter of fact, this line of work I have been doing for many years, ever since 2014. In the first place, I was trying to explain what BRI is to Indian professionals and colleagues in New Delhi. But I finally gave up on that endeavor because I know it will not fructify. So let's forget about it. But when I'm requested to come over to Kathmandu to do my job, explaining to you what BRI is really about, I feel thrilled. I feel it's a privilege. It's kind of high-level trust between me and my friends here in Kathmandu. I really appreciate it, and I want to thank Honorable former Prime Minister Kanal for inviting me and talk to you about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will keep my speech short. And I know I'm kind of, sort of person that's known for being frank and forthright. Sometimes you may find my speech to be offensive, but that's not my intention. I want to say that I speak in my own capacity. That means I don't speak for my government. But I will share in a very frank sense about my understanding of what BRI is really about. So, today we are gathered here to address the issue of profound importance, to discuss on what BRI is really about, as well as the future of this great country, its economic survival and prosperity, and to assess a critical opportunity that's lying in front of you and you really cannot afford to ignore any longer. This is not just a theoretical discussion about international development. It is a matter of survival, a matter of whether Nepal remains trapped in stagnation or chooses to embrace the winds of change that are blowing across Asia and the world. Let me begin by framing the conversation under the BRI, which was launched in 2013. BRI is not a geopolitical tool. It is a fundamental reshaping of global development dynamics spanning Asia, Africa, and Europe. It is aimed to create a vast network of infrastructure, connectivity, and economic collaboration that has the potential to redefine the future of countries like Nepal. The Chinese government has already invested over $1.3 trillion in more than 140 countries through the BRI, with projects that covers everything from highways, railway linkage, airports, ports, as well as energy and telecommunications. These projects are not about charity, please mark my words. It's not about charity. It is investment-driven initiative with the power to transform the economic situation of this country. But as we stand here today, Nepal finds itself at the crossroads. Nepal has been an official partner of BRI since 2017, yet the country's participation in this monumental initiative has been marred by indecision, political instability, and an illusional commitment to has cycled through 10 governments. 10? This is a staggering number by any standard, and it is a major reason why Nepal has failed to unlock its economic potential. Political change in Nepal is not just about leadership turnover. It is about a complete reset of policy priorities sometime. Each government coming into power with its own agenda, its own vision, and often its own set of contradictions. This kind of constant turnover has paralyzed your development. The policies are never implemented consistently enough to create long-term structural change for the well-being of your people. And this political instability discourages both domestic and foreign investors, including those from China. Nepal's instability to focus on sustained economic growth is evident. Look at the country's GDP growth rate, which is forecast to be around 2.8% this year. This is far below the global average, especially when you consider the countries like Vietnam, the countries in Southeast countries. They are growing at a faster pace. And this is there is a direct correlation between political instability and economic stagnation, in my opinion. Countries that have embraced long-term strategies, such as Ethiopia, Kenya in Africa, have seen their economic growth as a result of stable governance and focused infrastructure investment. They have commitments. For example, Kenya's Mombasa-Nairobi Railway, financed through BRI, have cut travel times.
Okay, thank you for your question. And thank you for your interest in China-Nepal BRI cooperation. You know, the Chinese government built the Article Highway, that is the China-Nepal Highway, in 1960s. At that time, any government is angry about King Mahendra's decision to build the Article Highway to link Nepal and China. You know, in that time, we Chinese were still very, very poor. So many people, they did not have food to eat. You know, my great-grandmother died of hunger in 1960s. Even though we Chinese built the Article Highway, you know, with Chinese grants, everything. Now, why the Indian Prime Minister Nehru opposed the highway? Because he thinks if the highway has been built, Nepal will not rely more on India. And he told King Mahendra that no need to connect Nepal with China, but just we are one family, okay? So King Mahendra told Nehru, the communism won't go to Nepal by taxi. Am I right? Yeah. So that is the historical background of the Article Highway. Now, besides building the Article Highway for Nepal as a gift of the Chinese government to Nepal people, when I was working here in Kasthamandap University, Confucius Institute, we Chinese teachers went to Casa. You say Casa. We say Zhang. Okay. To buy some food for the Spring Festival holiday. Okay? We found that the whole Unicode Highway was built by the Chinese government, but only a very short section from Kathmandu to Badaga, no more than 11 kilometers. But there is a very, very large signboard, Nepal-Japan cooperation, the Tinkune to Suryabana, the express highway. So just now you mentioned that why the dry port cannot, run smoothly, mostly because of the earthquake, and then maybe because of some other things. I think, we Chinese, I always say that because I am only a teacher, an English teacher, a Chinese language teacher in Nepal, in China. So my idea is that I'll try my best to bridge the understanding gap between China and Nepal. We are always ready to help Nepal to achieve stability and prosperity. The problem is that when and if the Nepali people or government is willing to accept that support and help. Okay. But that is a big problem. Now, as for the triangle, okay, from China, Nepal to India. I even talked about the China-Nepal Railway. Nepal can set up a trans-nation cooperation to attract investment, not only from China, but also from India, from America, from all the world. We input, we invest, and we share the benefits, we share the risks. And in this way, the Indian government and the United States government, they will not oppose the railway anymore, maybe. They can make some money, they can get benefits. So that is my idea. Maybe it is not so practical. I think if we work together, do our best, we do our best, you do your homework, to make the BRI cooperation framework agreement come into true. And just now, in the first presentation says only one, or at most 5, okay, can come into true. I think all of them should come into true. Why not? Who is opposing that? Who is, stopping Nepali friends from getting rich, from achieving stability and prosperity? Now you should know that. I hope China's candidates a good will can, meet with the Nepali political parties and Nepali citizens, cooperation. In this way, I think in the near future, Nepal can be South Asia's Brussels and Kathmandu Brussels, Nepal, South Asia, Switzerland. And next time, maybe I can come to Kathmandu by railway, not by airplane. Okay, thank you.
Okay, somebody else? Two of the 3 presenters. Okay, that's it.
सत्य तथ्य र समाज परिवर्तनका लागि मूलघर अनलाइन टिभीलाई सब्स्क्राइब गरी छेउमा रहेको बेल आइकन बजाइदिनुहोला। धन्यवाद।